this has been a bit of a buzz about, especially when you're talking about Teslas coming through and being sold in the Indian market. What price will they be at? Which particular model? And in fact, it's come to light that the government may modify the terms of its new EV policy amid Tesla being readied for an India entry. Sources in the government have said that the new EV policy is expected to be rolled out in March, and that was something that was announced a year ago, remember. Shrimi has the details, and it's something of a tweak that could come through. Shrimi?
Government is working on finalizing the guidelines on the new EV policy. Remember, the EV policy requires the investment of 4,150 crore, which gives you the concessional duty of 15% tariff from the current 110% tariff at this point of time. So what we've been given to understand that government is working on making some changes in the terms and condition of the EV policy, and in fact companies and car makers may give a mandate to have a revenue target of 2,500 crore by the second year itself from the date of manufacturing unit being set up. In fact, in the draft policy which was approved last year itself, already have a provision of 5,000 crore revenue target in the first 4 years and 7,500 crore by the fifth year. So this is one addition which is going to be crucial if at all they are going to come as a change in the final policy. Other than that, the assembly line could be included in the existing factory, and any past investment by these car makers whomsoever is interested in the policy would not be considered as a fresh infusion. Any land building cost will also be not counted as a part of the total investment. However, there are consideration around that 5% of of the total investment could go towards the EV infrastructure. So that consideration is still in work. So overall, some terms and conditions could see some tweaking, and once the scheme will be notified, the application will be sought, and 2 to 3 months of the timeline will be given for the approval, and after the approval comes, the companies can go ahead with the import. This is important and coming at a time when Tesla, one of the considered to be a key beneficiary of the EV policy, is planning its foray in the Indian market. So this is important, and we've been also told from our sources that 2 to 3 car makers have already showed interest. However, there is no such commitment came so far. So government, especially the heavy industry ministry, who is the nodal ministry, is working with the commerce ministry and finance ministry on the proposal, on the changes, and we will see some development in next month itself. And if all goes fine in the internal consultation, we would see that application will be invited by April itself.
It's a big talking point, Shrimi. Thanks for that. And I must tell you, it's a big talking point, not just out here in India, but for global majors as well. I mean, if you visit websites of Bloomberg, CNBC, what have you, across the board, Tesla's India plans are top draw. And I'm not saying the EV policy is being facilitated for ensuring that, I mean, it's great for the consumer that maybe there's more competition coming in for car makers. And the Indian companies, I must say, are fairly confident that they'll be able to stand up to that. And why not? I mean, some of the cars that we've seen have been fascinating. Well, let's talk about that with Kush Bora, founder of kushbora.com, car enthusiast, I'm sure. Aditya Shah, founder of Hercules Advisors, will probably put into perspective the fundamental aspect of this as well. Now, Aditya, can I start with you on this? Good morning to both of you, of course. But let's assume that for a certain kind of investment, the duties are reduced, and it facilitates global car majors to set up shop. They have targets, much like companies have targets in the PLI schemes, etc., etc. What does this mean for electric vehicle penetration in the country, part one, and what does it mean for incumbents? We saw M&M recover a little bit after the drubbing that it got for the last 3 days, and their cars have shown some very good sales thus far. Maruti has given out a 5-year plan. They are planning about this seriously. I'm sure Hyundai, with its Creta launch, is now thinking of very large EV plans as well. What does all of this mean for an investor?
Good morning, Neeraj. So this is particularly good for the sector. We feel that as Tesla will come in, all automakers will be forced to innovate and invest in technology. Mind you, one of the biggest difference between IC car and an EV car is technology. An EV car is loaded with a load of technology, and today we've seen the largest automaker now only now starting to invest in the EV supply chain, and they are going to launch their new EV in terms of Vitara Brezza. So, in my opinion, this is really very good. All incumbents will now aggressively invest in the EV ecosystem. Not only Tesla, BYD is another one from China, which is far ahead in technology, and it will also be a major beneficiary in it. So as more and more people come in, as more and more competition come in, it's good ultimately for the consumer as cost of acquisition of EV will come down and it will benefit the entire ecosystem. So this is very good news. I will welcome Tesla to come in and set up shop in India. And over a longer period of time, this will be positive for all automakers like Mahindra, Maruti, Tata, as the sector will move on and cost of acquiring an EV will come down.
Aditya, that's all a fair point. But then, from what I've heard, and people who are in California, where a mass migration has taken place to EV, the problem is not with the availability of the vehicle. The problem is with the availability and the cost of energy. And already you're talking about a split in India. Of course, you have capacity that is renewable, but you're still talking about a large amount of the production that is still thermal. And ultimately, it's going to increase the pressure on the grid to have at certain points of time, because you're talking about cars usually getting charged at night. So what are the implications for power producers for the grid, and are there plays there if India indeed does move a larger part of its mobility towards electric?
I will give you something interesting. All automakers across Europe and US are slowing down their investments in EV. It doesn't mean that EVs will come overnight. Only in the stock market, by stock price movements, we see that the market is anticipating things will change overnight. This is a 5, 10, 15-year story where EVs will slowly and steadily continue to penetrate the ICE engines. And over a period of next 15, 20, 25 years, we will see a full-fledged EV car. So slow and steady changes will happen. Changes will be synonymous with the fact that government continues to invest very aggressively across renewable energy, together with the fact that there are batteries, either there are swappable batteries or either there are fast charging batteries. That ecosystem will take time. So this is positive in the shorter term. However, the bigger change will come over 10, 15, 20 years. Now talking about the ecosystem, of course, the EV ecosystem is going to be a major beneficiary of this. Somebody like an IEX, where power trading will really happen, that is going to benefit out of it. And auto ancillaries supplying to all of these EVs will be major beneficiaries. For example, somebody like a Motherson, somebody like a Fiat Industries or a Lumax Industries or Sona BLW. These are all the players who are going to benefit. However, this will not happen over a shorter period of time. Long tail will be there because still in EV players are understanding what technology will be mass produced. So slow and steady progress will happen. Don't expect something to happen overnight.
Yeah, and it's a very fair point that you're making.